This video is all about the brand new Mahindra XUV700, a new SUV from India trying to take its piece of the SUV segment pie here in South Africa. And you're probably thinking, oh, it's an Indian car, it's probably going to be cheap and have a small engine and have bad plastics inside and really bad build quality. Well, here it is. Well, I'm keen to take this thing for a drive, so let's go. And welcome to another Greg Dennis review. Okay, so driving the Mahindra XUV700. And this car is powered by a 2-litre turbocharged petrol engine, putting out 148 kilowatts and 380 newton meters of torque. And for a car of this size and in this category, I think that's more than enough power. I mean, if you put your foot down, it eventually goes. There's a little bit of turbo lag there, but it's not too bad, so it's not the end of the world. But once it does get going, it's got just enough torque to kind of keep you pushing and to keep you engaged in the drive that you're doing. It doesn't seem to lag too much from the power point, so yeah, it's got some nice pull. But also this turbo, the turbo makes a pretty cool sound. Yep, so from a power point of view, yeah, so from a power delivery point of view, I think it's got more than enough. The turbocharged 2-litre engine is doing what it should be. I think it doesn't need too much more extra power. Its delivery is great. It's, like I said, it's a little bit of turbo lag, but at the end of the day, a price point of view, it's cool. And then for driving comfort and seat positioning, I think they've also got it spot on. I could do with a seat position that would lower a little bit more than this. It's currently in its lowest setting, so you know, I'm still feel like I'm quite high, but for most people I think that's going to be quite cool. So if you are in this SUV, you are sitting very high, so you've got a really good view of the front of the car. When you're sitting in traffic, you also feel a little bit more superior, but I think that it's nice. So I don't think people will be too unhappy with the seating position. You do also have enough options when it comes to your steering wheel, so you can, maybe I'll find the thing, you can move it forward and backwards as you need and up and down, so you should find the perfect driving and seating position for yourself here. Your arms are comfortable too. You've got an armrest in the center and an armrest on the side here. Both are quite soft too, so you aren't driving your elbows into hard plastic, which is quite nice. And then for one of the standout features in this car, in my opinion, is definitely its suspension. So it has got an independent suspension all around, so you don't have, like you would have in other SUVs in this category where they're bucky based. They've got a very firm suspension at the back there because they need to carry quite heavy loads. So here, it's built like an SUV, it's built like a normal car. You've got independent suspension in the rear, so each wheel on each side moves independently to give you the most comfort that you can get. And trust me when I say it's comfortable. Going over speed humps and any sort of bumps in the road, it's handled with ease. It feels very composed. So when the back end of the car actually goes over the speed hump, it lands so softly that you almost get jarred by how smooth it was. So I guess that's a really good point for it. And then delivering the power to the wheels is the 6-speed auto. And yes, it's a 6-speed auto. It's luckily not a CVT, which is again another selling point for it. But it's just not a very refined 6-speed auto. So with most autos, you want to not actually know that anything is happening down here. But unfortunately, when you are driving through the gears, you can kind of feel it going to second and feel it going to third, which you really shouldn't. But again, for the price points, for the car you're buying, I think it's something that you can potentially overlook. So first, it changes again, and changes again. It's not the end of the world. And then keeping you safe while you drive is this car's plethora of smart safety tech. So I'll list most of it on the screen, but you've got forward collision warning, emergency braking, all of that sort of stuff. And then while you're driving, things are also quite easy to get to and to kind of operate while you're driving here. So you'll see that the climate control is also separated from the digital screen, which is quite nice. So it makes operating it and getting to your preferred temperature and fan speed quite easy. And then depending on what mood you're in, you can also change the display that's in front of the driver here. You've got 3 different themes, and this is what they look like. And then here, just to show off the suspension, the speed hump. Handled so well. Yo. And another one. I really have to give it to Mahindra. The suspension on this car it's really good. It's so comfortable to drive in. So as part of the safety systems, this car doesn't actually have blind spot monitoring, so you don't have a little light that blinks in the top corner of these side mirrors here when the car's next to you, which is a bit weird, but I'm not sure if they've maybe tried to overcome that by putting in this digital, if you want to call it, blind spot monitor in the center here. So it uses the cameras that are part of your 360 camera system, and it displays what's kind of behind you, next to you, every time you put the indicator on. So it's the so every time you put the indicators on, it displays what's on that side of you. So depending on which indicator you put on, it'll display that particular camera, which is quite cool. But I feel like I end up getting more distracted by that thing popping up to look and see what it is than me actually being aware of what's next to me here. So a nice feature, little gimmick, but I think I would have preferred actual little blinking lights here for your blind spot monitoring. And then something else I wanted to talk about was the start-stop system. So when you stop the car, the engine turns off, which is normal, but I don't like it on. So what I normally do is I then say, okay, I'm going to turn it off the system, which means the car should now turn on, which it doesn't do. But in other cars, if you turn the system off, the car then automatically starts again because that's what you're telling it to do. So now the car's off, I've turned that off. What do? I can't pull off because the car's dead. I actually have to turn the car off and on again, but I can't because it's not in park, and off and on. And yeah, an unnecessary way to do something. But yeah, that's enough driving. Let me go show you what the car looks like on the inside and the outside. But stick around because I'm also going to give you the GDR score at the end. So should you get the car, should you drive it, or should you just remove it from your list of cars? Alright, now it's time to see what the design of the XUV700 is all about. And up front, you've got this brand new grille with the all-new Mahindra logo, which is reminiscent of a certain webbed superhero's eyes, don't you think? You've also got these awesome daytime running lights, which they've kind of kept the design from the previous XUV, the 500, which is quite nice. You've got these 18-inch diamond cut wheels as well, which look really cool. I'm actually a big fan of what these wheels look like. And then carrying on down the side of the car, you've got one of the other main exterior features of this car, which is its door handles that can go flush. They actually go out and in, depending on if you're locking or unlocking the car. They're very, very cool. And then working our way around the back, you've also got these brand new LED rear tail lights, as well as a spoiler with gloss black accents, a silver diffuser, and if we go in a little bit closer on the badging on the back here, you'll see that it says XUV700 AX7L. And that 7 means it's a 7-seater, and the L means that it's the top of the range version with all of the added extras. And then onto the interior of this Mahindra. And tell me honestly, did you expect it to actually look this good? These seats aren't actually leather, they're made out of a leatherette, but when they feel this good, is there actually a need for real expensive leather? But anyway, it carries through all the way to the seats at the back, across the front of your dash and onto your doors. And yes, you do know that sound, scratchy plastics, and it is all over. You know, when it comes to a price point like this, it is expected, but I do have to commend them on the build quality. And then while I'm on this armrest, I do need to raise something which really concerns me, and it's the design of it. So they've tried to keep a sweeping dash line inside, but by doing that they've had to raise this armrest over here. So when you open up the window, you've got this massive black plastic hump sticking out. Back on the inside of the car, you're welcomed by these two 10-inch displays, with the one on the left being infotainment and the one on the right being a digital display. On your infotainment screen, you are able to access your music, your maps, your 360 camera, and all of the cool things like that in your settings. But if we go a little bit deeper into this, I'll show you that you can actually take a picture with your 360 camera setup. So to do that, you go and you access your 360 camera down at the bottom, and in the bottom left hand corner here, you'll see that there is a camera icon. And all you do is you simply tap that, and whichever camera you have on at the time, it'll simply capture that moment. And then to go and view whatever you took a picture of, you simply swipe up into your menu, go to the gallery, and it's all there. But don't look through everything because you might find some other journalists' weird pictures. And then moving further down, you'll find the dual zone automatic climate control, which yes, is separate from your infotainment, which is really simple to use and really easy to access. And then onto the storage, you've got a really nice sized glove box here with a secret little compartment for anything. Some decently sized door bins so you can fit a really nice big water bottle. Some space underneath your climate control for something. And then 2 cup holders and a really nice bin in the center that also slides forward. And then into the driver's zone, you have this really nice leatherette steering wheel as well as this 10-inch display. And on this display you'll be able to see your speed, your revs, your trip computer, your tire direction as well as your tire pressures. And quite easy to navigate through with your steering wheel mounted controls. And what you're looking at here are all of your controls for your infotainment and telephone. And on the right hand side you're able to access your driver display as well as adjust and manage your cruise control. And below your climate control you also have 2 USB slots as well as a wireless charging pad for your phone. And then further down on the center console you also have these quick access menu buttons for your infotainment as well as a rotary dial for your volume. But I'm not a big fan of the piano black they've got going on here. Both front seats are electronically adjusted and do have memory function, but you can't simply just push the button and it goes back to your memory. You have to hold it down the whole time, which is hopefully something they can fix because that doesn't seem necessary. And to add in some extra light to the cabin, they've equipped it with a panoramic sunroof, and yes, it does open as well. But they call it their sky roof. And then making our way into the back seats, you can see the space is pretty impressive. And as I get in here, you'll notice that the driver's seat is in my driving position. Actually, it's a little further back, but that does actually go to show that with me being 1.87 meters tall, I do actually still have some legroom in front of me. And the backseat passengers have a USB-C slot. So I'm not sure if that goes to show that the parents have got older phones. I don't know. But anyway, there's an armrest with a cup holders too. There's some storage behind the seats and this nifty handle on the passenger seat to slide it forward with ease. Making your way into the third row of seats is quite simple. You simply lift up a latch and the seat just flops forward, making it quite easy to get into the back there. And before I show you how to get in here, did you know that the entire tailgate is made out of plastic? Well, now you do. But anyway, once you're inside, you can see the seats are easily accessible. They drop down and lift up with absolute ease. And your passengers back here will be just as comfortable as well, because they do have their own aircon vents as well as cup holders. And then lifting the seats is just as easy. Grab the latches and pull up. And you see, even Mr. Lanky, Greg Dennis himself, can fit back there. I told you, it's made out of plastic. Okay, we've come to the end of the review of the XUV700, and now it's time to give it the GDR score. So, should you get the car? Should you drive the car, as in take it for a test drive or something like that? Or should you remove it from your list of cars that you're looking at? And I would definitely say, go and take this for a drive. Go to your closest Mahindra dealership, go test drive it and see if it's the right car for you. This particular unit here sells for about 550,000 Rand, and as you can see, it's pretty fully kitted out. So there isn't a lot that's going against this car, besides for a few of the things that I've mentioned in this video. But this is a very competitive category, and cars like Haval and others like that are also just as competitive in their pricing. So there might be other cars out there for you, but this is definitely a contender and should be on your shortlist. So thanks for watching another Greg Dennis review. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned a little bit more about the Mahindra XUV700. And if you did, please will you drop a like. And if there's any other cars you'd like me to review, or you have any other questions about this car, then drop a comment too. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, then subscribe too, so that you don't miss any more in the future. So thanks, and I'll see you then.